Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roll20 Presents The Burning Wheel. This is episode number 22. I am your game master, Adam Coble, and I am joined, as usual, by this rogues gallery of no good, power-hungry individuals.
I am indeed a rogue. It's true.
You're very definitely true. I liked for folks who are not watching live. We were talking a bit in chat and a bit before the episode about patterns in characters, particularly the patterns that one distracted elf has when making characters. And I really liked, what was the phrase that you used, Elf, to describe the types of characters?
Many of my characters end up being murderously sympathetic.
Right. So help me understand the difference between murderously sympathetic and sympathetically murderous.
Okay, but see, the thing about murderously sympathetic is it's like they're horrible people. Like, they do bad things, and like they don't care about human life generally very much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are murderous.
Got it.
But also they're like tragic, kind of, and you can feel why they might be murderous.
Right.
Like, that's the idea.
So you want to kill the people they want to kill. Like, the audience can relate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I agree with you murdering that person, but I can see why you did it, and there's a certain amount of pathos in you doing it.
Yeah, I can. Okay, I see that. Yeah. And I can see that trend developing.
I mean, you can look back at any of my characters; it's all that kind of shit. Like, pretty much.
This is the kind of thing that fascinates me about role-playing games, is the kinds of patterns that develop as we watch ourselves create characters.
I also always play the underdog. Always. Yes. If I can, I play the most fucking low position that I possibly can.
What? So, I mean, this is a good intro. We can work with this. So, Andrew, what's your character pattern? What's the kind of thing you go back to when you make characters?
I don't know. I don't know what the broad strokes pattern would be.
I feel like your characters are like this just from an outside perspective, like kind of like
revolutionary
almost. Yeah, and like revolutionary stuff comes up a lot, and like against the grain sort of stuff comes up a lot.
I mean, thinking specifically of Timon and Agatha. Also your character in the Sprawl, I forget what their name was. You want to change the way that society is not into the way that it should be.
You, but
what was her name? Network, something like that. It was a
relay. Their name was Relay.
Yeah. So like your characters always see like, this is status quo. This is how things should be, almost idealistic. And then you like slow burn to try and make the changes without like violence.
So almost. Far, I'm hearing that the two of you just both play yourself all the time.
Are you saying I'm murderous? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying of everybody in this group, you're the one I would be most concerned with stabbing me in the back end or side.
You go and open Elf's broom closet, and it's just like an entire shelf of bottles of bleach and then duct tape.
Yeah, dangerous individual.
I don't know. I'm not concerned at all about Elf stabbing me.
Maybe you should be. Maybe it's.
Look, I only stab the bad people.
Yeah,
okay,
that's right. You're very sympathetic.
You're all fine. Yeah.
What about you, Blue Jay? You've recently made a new character for another show. Are you finding you've been playing role playing games for a year and a bit now? Mm-hmm. How are you finding? Are you finding patterns developing? Is there a certain?
I don't think it's up to me to determine what patterns I think are developing. It's the patterns that other people see, and if that's the case, then I'm a shit kid.
I don't know about that.
I don't know that you are. Yeah, I feel like your characters always have like a strong stance. Like whoever they are, they always have like this position that they like hold. You know what I mean? Whether that's like the lawful goodness of Arcturus, right, or like the I'm the bestness of like Oleander, right? Like it's this one thing that's like a pillar of their personality.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like that. You play characters that take a firm stance on stuff. I also feel like the pattern is you play characters who are used to getting what they want. Characters who are like, this is how things are, and everyone else is wrong, and I'm gonna stick on this because I'm right and you're not.
Yeah, I think the getting what they want is probably like perpetuated over a bunch of the characters. But like, I don't know. That's like the thing for me that's interesting in so much as like someone who's used to getting their own way and then what happens when they don't.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, totally.
But it's also like I want to do the things that I want with my character, and when it goes a different way than I expected or wanted it to, then I like myself as a player, I'm like, no.
But I feel like also that's the same thing that Adam was saying about me and Andrew, right? Where it's like there's a little bit of you in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's
Right.
definitely a thing. I think it's because I approach more to the fiction side of things than to the rule side of things.
Blue
Your
Jay,
mic-
your mic's doing the thing. You've wandered away into
Ah, God.
audio limbo.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. That's
Yeah.
always the fix. You got it.
And yeah, I think that that's another thing. Like I tend to approach from fiction first instead of like trying to build from the mechanics of the game. And often like another part of it is like ignorance of like something or other as a character thing, because like Arcturus being ignorant of the way that things are on land is like me as a player
There's got to
not
be there's got to be a
knowing
literary term
about-
for that. Yeah, because there's that thing that where the character is the like it's a kind of character that if the audience doesn't know about the world, they can learn about it through
that person.
through that
learning
person.
about
Like
it,
we
yeah.
we have one of those. JP is playing a character that's that type of character in
Sally Haffa.
Yeah, Sully Hoffa in Court of Swords, where his character is essentially a sage and a fan of the one of the long-standing characters, and so we're learning about the world through him and about the character through him.
That's cool.
But there's got to be a term for that, like portal character.
I mean, it's like a venue for exposition, basically. Like
Hmm.
I don't know how you would describe it, but it is sort of like this like
It's a common device in films and stuff like that where they need to have an excuse to tell you things.
audience surrogate.
yes,
is
yeah,
like-
totally, like a surrogate or like that idea.
Yeah, but that's like
of-
me not knowing about like
Totally.
the existing fiction in like Forgotten Realms,
Sure.
or
Yeah,
not
and it
knowing a
works.
lot about cyberpunk as a thing. And so like my characters reflect that because I don't want to presuppose something and feel out of my element.
The what's the Quarantine is that character in Apocalypse World where it's like
Yeah.
I've been asleep for 1,000 years and now I wake up and it's like please help me understand the world in character so that we as a group can like learn about the character, like because there's stuff that the characters wouldn't ask, and I think this is a
like dialogue you wouldn't have.
it's
naturally.
it's a foundational difficulty with games in that the characters would just know a lot more common stuff and they wouldn't bring it up. And it feels so jarring in fiction when someone's like, now, you know, and I know, and everyone in this room knows how this works, but let's talk about it again, you know, just so we're all clear on what's going
Yeah.
on.
Well, and I think part of that also is the fact that like I'm still not comfortable with saying this is true.
Sure. Yeah.
And coming from like nowhere and just making a statement about how things are, because like I don't know, and I get that in fiction like nobody knows and you can just make it up and like we're working together to create, but I'm still not comfortable with
Yeah.
just saying like this is how things are and my character says that's how things are and now
Yeah.
it's true.
Well, and that's why games like Burning Wheel or Apocalypse World tend to be easier for that kind of player because there's mechanisms to like allow you to
make something
you
true,
know when
yeah.
it's your turn to make stuff up through wises or whatever. So Dave, when you can't play a robot with a giant sword, what's your like thematic pattern? I would have said, having played with you a fair bit, I would have said I could have seen the pattern developing up until we started this campaign, because I think Miro and Lodovic are both like very different from the previous characters that I've seen you play. Do you feel like you have a
and
you have a
the
pattern?
Monster Heart stuff just before it was also like very different. you
I
know
heard
what
I heard about that. I heard about
Which
that
is-
jam.
Whew, you know.
So what do you think, Dave?
I actually think there is a theme that runs through, and it's characters who always want to be good characters but have some sort of problem with being it.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
always want
Dave
to.
plays good boys.
Mm-hmm.
They're always
they
good
either
boys.
want to be good, or they're trying to do other things for other people and they're fucking it up somehow.
It's fascinating to me just having this conversation, how a lot of like all four of you mentioned, I think, the way that you look at your characters having goals. Like I think everyone in this group said I play characters that want, or I play characters that like try to, like we have this idea of the kinds of things that we play characters that they desire things. And then the interaction between that and then the games that we play, right? Like I think Blue Jay, Burning Wheel is challenging to play a character who like really aggressively wants something because it's a game so fraught with failure and peril. Whereas Elf, the game tends to lean into that playstyle where you're like, I'm just a shitty underdog and everything bad happens to me. And the game is like, yes, let me help you.
I'm already winning no matter what it is. And if bad things happen, I'm playing to type. So
it's fascinating. It makes me want to see, for example, like how like Elf, have you ever played Fate?
I haven't played Fate.
Yeah, and Blue Jay, you haven't either, right?
No.
So I really so Fate is a game in which
didn't we play it for Dave's one shot?
Yeah, we did a very short,
like the one game,
one game.
You kind of have to do like 6 or 7 like episodes, sessions of it. But in Fate, really like nothing fundamentally bad ever happens to your character. Like your characters kind of change laterally, but you don't really get denied in any hard way. It's just not that style of game. Yeah, which I really wonder what it would be like to see like a longer game of that with. And it just goes to, it goes to show, right, that like the mechanisms of the game, turns out, they matter. So
I also think it goes to show, just like randomly as an add-on, like going through this and like us knowing each other and like talking about this stuff and about our characters that we've had over several campaigns, like we're talking about the kind of thing where when you have a group that has done this for a long time, you know what people want to do, you know what they're gonna do almost before they even do it, right?
Right. Yeah.
In terms of like, oh, we're making new characters. I wonder what kind of asshole Elf's gonna make this time. Yeah, like exactly.
Well, for me as a both a GM and like longtime GM for this group particularly, and as a like a producer of content overall, like the person who kind of puts forth like we should play this game and here's why. Like it definitely informs my thought process around what games would be good for us to play. To be like, this game I think will work really well, or like we should never play this game. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, let's talk about more specifically these characters, the characters we are playing today. So I talked to y'all about this before we started, but I want to change. We'll do it the normal way and then also the new way today, but I want to change when we change up our beliefs because for me, I've been struggling a little bit with making sure I have stuff in the session that plays to everyone's beliefs. Because we do the beliefs at the beginning of the session, so I have that week or whatever, I don't have time to like adjust. So I want to start doing the belief changing at the end of the episode rather than at the beginning of the following episode. So we'll go over all the beliefs, instincts, and traits at the beginning, but at the end of the episode, that's when we're going to change them, because then I can spend that week being like, all right, these are your beliefs, and here's how I'm gonna challenge them. Because normally it feels a little last minute for me, and I'd like to be able to...
kind of works with your like prep.
Yeah, I would rather be able to sort of sit with it for a little bit rather than kind of dive in. I'm pretty good at improvising, but it would be nice. I think it'll serve you better as a group because I can tailor the session more specifically. Not like y'all need more fate points, but I'd like to see more persona on the table, and I think that's easier to do if I can kind of tailor the session. So let's go through. Do you want to start us off, Elf? Talk about Joy's current.
When do I not want to start us off, Adam?
Start us off. Talk about Joy's current biz.
My current beliefs are: the king's at home with the crow. I should pay them a visit and let my former master know I still live. We haven't done that yet, so that's still on the table for me.
Okay.
Every upstart needs an accomplice. I'll make sure Emilio is loyal to me over Ekaterina. And truth was a friend. I'll figure out what he wants and get it for him, ingratiating myself and securing his friendship once again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My instincts are, when anyone speaks of God, laugh. Always keep a knife where no one can see it, and confront every boast with an ugly truth. I've been assessing my instincts in terms of like, I may have to change some things soon because the character is in such a different situation that I think some of it might change. But right now it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
My traits are Off-Kilter, Scapegoat, Ashen Eldritch, and Bootlicker. My die traits are Numb, Dreamer, and Lame. And my call-on traits are Aura of Innocence, Keen Taste, The Fool, and Cold-Hearted.
Excellent. Yeah, Cold-Hearted's a good one because you're playing 2 and struggling against it so much. Because it's very hard to be a person who is both cold-hearted and doesn't have a lot of friends or servants. Like, it's hard to be on your own in that case. So that's cool. Also, Bootlicker, I can't ever hear it without giggling a little bit.
It is amazing, yeah.
It's such a good one. All right, Agatha, creepy shadow lady Agatha.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your beliefs, instincts, and
Yeah, so my beliefs are that Robillard seems to think he has knowledge. I must join our two bodies of knowledge together.
mm-hmm.
Survival is the only morality, and I must learn more about this sister and why she chose her faith over the tradition of the woods.
Now, after the fallout of the previous session, in which Elisandra and Robillard have come to an agreement to put Elisandra on the throne, I'll suggest, or I'd like to invite you to think about writing a belief about Elisandra and about that new situation, because it's very like forefront and present, and I'd like you to be a part of it.
I think I can adjust my first belief.
That's what I was thinking.
To encompass that. So just be like, talk about how Robillard has plans for Elisandra.
Yeah, Elisandra's going to need a someone on her other shoulder, right?
Yeah. And like, I will support her more directly rather than use her towards this end. So it's going to be something like that. I'll write it and let you know before we start play. And then my instincts, I have one that's open because I'm still trying to figure it out. Something to do with Agatha's new situation, but nothing's really come up quite yet. And so then I have never put something back in the wrong place and always speak truth to power. And my traits are always in the way, well-traveled, spooky, inscrutable, respectful of women, lupine, vindictive, pragmatic, misunderstood, fey-blooded, blind, gifted, spirit familiar, essence of earth, unsteady, rat speak, forked tongue, Wolverine.
Excellent. That's good. That's good. Let's see if we can get you some more.
Yes, the unsteady rat's tongue fork, whatever Wolverine.
Yep. It's become one long trait.
Yeah, it's just like one giant trait.
All right. The Lady Elisandra Corvidae, same jam with you. You may wanna change up a belief here to write one about this new situation taking the forefront.
Yeah, I'm just I'm not sure yet. The stuff with Lodovic is apparently not coming into the fiction a lot right now, so maybe time to like table that and put something else there instead.
One thing I quite like about the beliefs as a reward system in this game is that having a belief for a while and not having it do anything for you, you can throw it out and it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to lose anything. There's no progress bar. It's like, did you get Fate today? Cool. Keep it? No. Did you get Persona? Yes. No. If it's not working for you, throw it out, and it's not like there's no sunk cost fallacy on it. So yeah, feel free to change these out as you need. I can tell you though that because of this situation with Soren, well, we'll get to the scene, but if you wanted to erase it and leave it open to sort of see where that progresses to, you could. But there's going to be some additional tension between the middle class and the nobles very soon.
Right. Yeah, so right now what I have is I refuse to owe anything to Lodovic. I will get this middle class upstart off my back. Soren has advised me to guide the king's ire toward the barbarians in the woods. I must learn of them to persuade the king not to go back to the castle. That was like in the series of steps that it takes to get me pregnant. Yes. That's one of them. It's odd, but whatever. And then the third one is a queen needs allies. I will gather the queen's inner circle to me. This also may have room for adjustment because obviously Robillard now stands in position to be one of those allies. I feel like it's hard for me because it's really butting against one of Elisandra's traits that I've played to really hard, the independent trait. And so I don't know how to write a belief about it without also being like, but I hate it and I don't want it.
Let me give you an example of like how this kind of works. If Elisandra were a real person in real life, Elisandra does not get to see her own character sheet. She doesn't know about these things. Her independence is an inherent part of her, but her belief is like a forefront conscious thought. So like for me, I have a trait like anxious or shy, but I also have a belief about how much I like doing like role-playing shows, even though they make me anxious. And those two things bang up against each other all the time, and I'm just like bathing in fate points. So it's cool to have those two things in direct opposition, because you'll be able to play in either direction, and that tension is what will generate rewards. So don't worry about writing a belief that contradicts your traits. That's awesome. That's good.
The basic thing is that Robillard is a powerful person who has agreed to ally with me, but I have to do what he wants me to do, and that's not necessarily what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can write a belief about like Robillard. Robillard is a powerful ally, but I will not be his figurehead. And talk about it being your like your goal to try to maintain some degree of independence in this new agreement. Like, again, the character's not mind controlled. We've as players, we've agreed that this is a thing that Elisodor has been convinced of, but you can still like, it's not like you're a puppet, right? He doesn't.
I just don't know how to like make that something like workable that I can like make steps to do. Like with the Soren thing, it's just like, okay, then you just go and learn about the barbarians. That's a thing that I can do and roll on, right? Like with the gather the Queen's inner circle, like circles roll, find inner circle person, like there you go, done. But I don't know how to like actually make that like general thought process into something actionable.
Sure. Well, I mean, you can think about like because obviously Robillard has plans, right? He's gonna be like, all right, here's the first thing we need to do. Here's the next thing we need to do. And he will just tell you those. And all you have to do is like do what he says. But if you want to have some degree of say in it, you can write a belief about like sitting down with him and like listening to his plans, getting to know what he intends. It just depends on whether you want to kind of like cozy up to him and be like, all right, man, let's have a planning meeting. Or if you want to look for flaws, right? And then find ways to point those out to him. Like, again, you don't have to, like the beliefs, you don't have to necessarily have one to start, but you know, you can fill it in as you go, or there may be a moment where you're like, oh wait, no, this is totally a thing, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I'll think about it, I guess, and come back to it at the end of the session. Okay. Anyway, my instincts are never allow anyone to treat me below my station, always redirect violence away from my person. Whenever I meet with a member of the court, recall a piece of gossip about them. My traits are your lordship, ambitious, well-dressed, independent, into peasants, cosmopolitan.
No, that's Lodewijk. Lodewijk has that. That into peasants is one of Lodewik's beliefs. We'll let him do his own character.
Cosmopolitan, raven-haired, jealous, mark of privilege, rapier wit, and charming.
She's gonna make a lovely, lovely figurehead for the new religious order. It's gonna be
no,
great.
She's not.
I really think you've got a huge powerhouse behind you on that one, Bluge. Like,
yeah.
But she doesn't like to have powerhouses behind her.
I mean,
she
that's
likes to be like pulling.
That's how we get deed points, right? Is by being like, fine, I cannot accomplish this on my own. I give myself over to you and your goal, right? That's, again, just one of many branches. Lodewijk, Dave, tell us of your beliefs.
Sure. Okay, we have the Seed of Silver, and its reach in the country will be integral to my goals. I want to grow the guild and expand my influence within it. I understand the suffering of the peasants and lowborn. I will work towards bettering their lives through creating opportunities and boosting the economy. And finally, Soren and Tabitha's grand adventure will require lots of preparation and organization. I will research the weapons and armor market in Carpathia.
Nice. I love this like arms merchant Lodewijk thing that's developing. Like, yo, you want swords? I know people who make swords.
What's that? Lord of War, Lodewijk?
Yeah, totally. Load of War. Awesome. Okay, those are all good. I like it. What do you got for instincts?
Never ignore an opportunity for profit. Always have cash on hand, and never go anywhere without Oprah.
Fantastic. And your traits?
My traits are self-satisfied, idealistic, materialistic, stocky, forward, patronizing, affinity for business, and penny-wise.
Cool. All right. So as promised, we'll start today's episode. There's no jump forward yet. We have some immediacy to handle. I promised Elf that we would have a scene with Joy and Truth in the
right.
aftermath.
Okay. Yeah, fuck. Okay.
So Joy, you've very recently been bathed in the blood of a not very nice person.
Point of order,
Yeah.
Adam, before we start the
Sure.
actual role-playing segment here. I did get a knife during that last segment
Yes.
with Soren.
Yeah.
Is that just a knife, or is it like higher quality than that? Because weapons-wise, dagger is like...
you have a shitty like
I have a kitchen knife, like a shiv.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
let me take a look. Do you have a page number for that?
Yeah, 554
Thank you.
for the weapons index, I think.
Thank you. 554. Yeah, it is. It's a better quality. I just want to see what.
There's run of the mill, which would be like a dirk, and superior quality.
No, it's a superior quality weapon. It's a dagger. Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
all right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I had the right stats
Right.
down.
The hierarchy of weapon excellence goes from shiv to dirk to dagger.
To dagger.
So yes, it's a dagger. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I know what knife I'm hiding now. But yeah, you're okay. So scene with Truth.
So Truth
Surprising
kind of like
bloodbath.
took you away to the back to like get you cleaned up and keep you from like losing your mind essentially. The outside, everybody is being like ushered out in, like it's like, okay, we're closed. Like obviously
There's murder.
some terrible shit has happened. There's chaos. It's only a matter of time before someone calls for a member of the Green Mantle Company to come and like handle this shit. But for now, you can hear in the background the kind of murmuring of chaos of the bar. This place is built to be fairly soundproof, so it's
Is
quite.
this the first time we've heard Green Mantle Company? I'm just gonna
It
call that
is.
out.
Yeah. So the Green Mantle Company is House Lyric's personal guard.
Okay, yeah.
But they act as the city guard as well.
Okay.
So there are echelons of the Green Mantle Company, the highest among which are the king's like personal guard, who technically the Emma Greyblade is a member of the Green Mantle Company, but she stands aside in a ceremonial position. She doesn't participate in their military hierarchy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a bunch of people that serve the house, and by serving the house serve Carpathia, and they're essentially like the cops at their lower levels.
I wanted to like you snuck that in there, and I was like, I want to hear what about these people? What do I know about them?
So yeah, I mean, if you want to know any more, you need like Guardwise or
Oh sure, yeah.
whatever. So yeah, someone will have called for them because a murder has occurred, which Ekaterina, she pays to keep the Green Mantle Company out of the Black Veil, right? This is going to be bad for everyone across the board. But for now, you have some time away.
Yeah. Like
And
a quiet back room.
yeah.
Is it like Truth's room, or have we gone somewhere
No, I
else?
think it's just like a back.
like
yeah,
a back
room.
hallway kind of thing.
Yeah,
or-
you're in like a side room. And I think Truth is saying to you, he says, I am glad you're safe, but things are about to become a lot more complicated, and we need to have a conversation about what that's going to look like when the guard arrives.
I think Joy's response, like right now, she's like just recovering from that steel test, I guess, and like she's still covered in this dude's blood, from him being stabbed directly in front of her, which I imagine would be fairly messy.
Yeah.
And she's saying things sort of repeatedly, like I didn't mess up, like I did everything he told me it was gonna be fine, and then he interrupted, and she's like very nervous, right? Like being very sort of like, don't kick me out, you know, in her manner. Like,
Okay.
I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't know he was going to do that. I couldn't have predicted it. It was him. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. You know,
Yeah,
like-
he puts his enormous hands on your shoulders and gives you just like the gentlest like shake, like, hey, like pay attention.
like yo,
Yeah, and he looks at you and he says, under other circumstances, we would take you away from this place. You're in no shape to talk to the guards, but they're going to remember that this murdered man was speaking with a Stygian.
and we don't have anyone else, I suppose, other than you and me. Okay, sure. What are we gonna say? What are we gonna do?
I have to speak with Ekaterina about this, but before I do, I need to be sure you're not going to do anything insane. You're not planning on running off. And that's a statement, not a question.
Yeah, she shakes her head, and she's got the dagger that's soaring through her like in her hand. Like
So it's not hidden.
it's not hidden.
Okay,
like,
so
yet.
he looks at it, and he says, "No, there's no reason for you to have that." And he goes to take it from you.
And she sort of like pulls it away a little bit, like no, I'm gonna keep this. Like this is given to me. Like in this weird, nervous, like she's really not like in her right mind right now.
Yeah. If the guards see you with that, it won't go well for you. You have to understand, Joy. You have no rights here. This could very easily be turned around on you. The guard don't want to have to deal with Lord Volpe being a murderer. Two Stygians get in a fight, one kills the other. You could hang for this, Joy. I know it wasn't your fault. I know you didn't do anything. But keeping hold of the murder weapon is not going to help your position.
Yeah, it's like the most expensive thing she's ever had. You know what I mean? There's this moment of like greed, in her where she's looking at it like, oh no, and I think this is the point where I've got to be like, what can I say? I can keep it hidden. No one will find it. I need to keep it. I need to give it back to him, right? That is our in here. We've seen what he has done. We've watched him do it drunkenly. And if we come up with another story, then he owes us,
Let's see if you can convince him.
And like try and do a persuade here. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, totally. You're persuading him that like, don't worry, I'm going to hold on to it. He gave it to me. It's important that I have it. And no one else, like, I don't want this to go away. Okay. So it's an OB4 persuade test.
Cool. All right.
For some reason, I'm at the top of the chat log. There we go.
Yeah. I gotta just like get my character sheet going here. Okay. Persuade, OB4.
Yeah.
Can I fork in falsehood? Because really, I'm just being greedy. Like I want to keep it, basically. It's one of those things.
Sure. The failure condition here is that
he'll take it.
Yeah,
right?
he'll take it from you. You may be able later to be like, look, now we got to deal with Soren. Depending on what Ekaterina tells him to do, like Ekaterina might be like, chuck it in the lake, like fuck it, we don't want to talk about this. But if he still has it, you may be able to convince him to give it back to you later.
Sure. All right. So let's just see where this goes. I guess I don't really have much of a choice. Is there anything else I can fork? Because I'd really like for this to be less deadly than it is. So
yeah, how many dice do you have against OB4?
I have 5. If I fork falsehood.
Okay.
But that's all I've got, I think. Sure. Unless I can fork slavery wise in terms of like the Stygian connection here, like
I don't think so. This is about the knife.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. If you had like murder wise or crime wise or
yeah. All right. Well, let's see.
Should open crime wise. That's going to be very useful for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Nope.
Okay.
Right.
Are either of those 6s? Ooh, they're not. Okay.
They're not.
All right. So his enormous hand like closes over yours firmly, but not like I'm gonna break your fingers. But it could go there if you resist. And he says, I think he sees through your bullshit. And he says, like Kefret and the pomegranate, sometimes we hunger for things we should not hold. Give me the knife, Joy. I will keep it safe.
I think with that, she sort of like lets go. You can feel her hand like in his, like untense around it, and let him take it.
Okay.
And then she sort of moves on from that. Like, okay, like it's gone.
Yeah, he takes it, and he I think much like you would, like it's just kind of not there anymore. Like he secrets
Yeah,
it away
just
somewhere. It kind of
gone.
vanishes.
Yeah. And so she continues with the like, okay, so the Green Mantle are gonna come, and we're gonna speak to them. Yeah. So what are we gonna say? What do you want from me?
I am going to speak to them. If we are fortunate, God's willing, you will say nothing. If fate is dark today, they will recognize you from the castle. And this will all become more complicated. For now, I need you to stay here. And he like does the like you would to a dog, like sit. So he puts his hands out like, I need you to stay here. I am going to speak with the mistress of the house.
Wait, Truth. If all of this comes out, all of this my past, we should tell Katerina about it first, right? So that there's no surprises.
He smiles and he says, "Oh, there is nothing to surprise Katerina, little sister. She knows. You have no secrets from her."
All right. Well, as long as that's already the case. So stay here.
He stands up, and he says, "Do not be afraid." And he's saying this as he goes to the door. "Do not be afraid, Joy. It is as they say." And he grins. "The truth will set you free." And he like winks at you. And he walks out, and you can see he's kind of putting on a like, all right, I have to be like competent and go back to being like the boss. And you can see
like
that kind of like come into his posture as he goes to leave the room.
And I mean, again, Joy has been told to stay here, and like not do anything insane,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like run away. And her instinct is to do that, right? Like to get out of there.
So yeah, he leaves you alone, and immediately your mind starts to race. Like you could run, you could just get out of here. You could ditch this place.
Am I, Adam? I need to like visualize this. Is this a room?
It's like a storage room, basically.
Okay, it's like
there's a single candle flickering on a shelf, and there are like linens and other like supplies, basically for the rooms upstairs. So yeah, towels, linens, that kind of thing.
So the only thing I can think is that I have some clothing, like remnant of my time in the castle, that has like the Larix like house symbol on it, because I belong to House Larix, or I have belonged to House Larix, and that might help if it comes to a point where I have to talk to someone. But if I go outside this room to go up to the room where my stuff is, then Truth is going to see me, right? Like Truth is going to see me walking around out here.
Yeah.
Which...
So, I mean, I guess there was a moment there where we could have called for a roll where Truth was trying to persuade you to stay. So yeah. I don't know if you want to do that, or if you just want to say like...
I think she does it only, and the only reason I didn't call for anything was because I think she does it because she's like upset, right? Like there's this whole moment where she's like freaking out, and a strong hand in that moment is sort of calming. Well, and the thing is,
he's practiced at handling like women who are younger than him who have recently been traumatized.
Yeah,
like it's a skill he has.
It's in his
job, part of his job. Yeah.
So I didn't feel like it needed a roll. No.
Okay, so you're gonna stay there?
I think basically she's gonna stay there. She's got her other knife hidden on her.
Yep.
And what else do I have? I
mean, if you need anything, you could make a scavenging roll to find it in the room, right? If there's anything you're looking for.
I was gonna say like I could try and do some like basic poison stuff, but I need to get my kit, and that's not here.
I mean, you can scavenge a one-use poison kit out of like cleaning supplies and stuff. There's probably lye in the room.
Yeah, why not? Let's try and make like a very basic poison. Yeah. Just in case I need it, you know, like the kind of thing you throw in someone's face, or like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're desperate. You're looking for additional weapons, right?
Yeah,
and that's your other weapon besides.
Her first instinct is to arm herself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess this is a scavenging
It is
test.
scavenging. Yep.
What ob are we at, Adam?
Let me take a look for scavenging 294. You're scavenging 1 use of a poison kit, success or
Yeah.
fail. Let me look. I will happily go on record as saying I think scavenging might be the most useful skill in the game.
It's pretty good.
Let's see. You're looking for common household goods.
And you said I was in a linen closet, right? Like a place where these kind of supplies
Yeah,
might be.
some kind of like stain
An
remover.
addendum to that. Scavenging is the most useful skill if you don't have high resources.
Fair. Yes, if you don't have the money to buy what you need, scavenging is incredibly useful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's call it it's it's kind of like when you were looking for poison in the kitchen. It's ob 2 but I think I think ob 2 is fine. I think we'll just stick with that. It's fairly common. This isn't going to be
Okay.
like this will be like
mean,
someone accidentally drank bleach as a poison, not like
Yeah.
it's not a secret assassin poison. This is low grade.
So I don't have
poison
any
shit.
I don't have any scavenging, like it's being learned right now.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't get it.
Oof. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think that probably you look around thinking like, oh, there's got to be something like that here. And you don't find anything but cloth.
Yeah, it's just like bedding and stuff.
You've managed to make a mess and get blood on everything though, so that's good.
God damn it.
Nice work. Yeah, so maybe you're just sitting kind of. I mean, what does that look like? Your sort of sudden, desperate burst of energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like Joy, like Truth leaves the room, door closes, and there's a single beat where Joy is just sitting there on like the floor where she was left. She like slides down the wall, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a single beat where she sits there, and then she gets up and starts like ripping the place apart. Right.
Right.
It's the thing where it's like she has a frantic burst of energy, a frantic like desire to help herself out of this situation, but she's been told she can't leave this room, basically. So you've got to find something in here. So she's like picking up like linens and like tossing them aside, basically like looking for stuff that might be behind, or if there's like a window in here or anything like that might like lead somewhere else, or she's just looking for something useful, right? And it's all pointless trash, like it to her, it's all like linens and sheets and stuff. And at the end, she's standing there in like the like remnants of what she's done, this like mess she's created, and realizes that she's probably just caused herself more trouble by doing that. Like the whole room is a fucking explosion.
Yeah, it looks like you had like a temper tantrum, and I love the idea of you looking for something that you're sure is there, but that isn't. Like,
but that isn't.
It's the frantic like, where's my phone? Like I lost my keys.
Yeah,
but there's nothing to find. Is the issue?
So that all happens, and I think she probably spends the like remainder of the quote unquote scene trying to put stuff back.
Right.
But it's like stained with blood and
because
like,
you were and didn't
way.
Get fully cleaned up.
Yeah, she's not like fully cleaned up exactly. So it's like a when you try and like hide the stains on things by like turning them a certain way or like hoping nobody notices. Like she's trying to do that, right? And like keep herself busy for this very stressful moment in her life where she could be arrested and executed, right?
You're basically just sitting there like, okay, well now we wait.
It is in the hands of my compatriot that I live or die right now, sort of thing.
Okay, all right. So I think we probably leave Joy on that.
Yeah.
Kind of terrified of her inevitable fate, and we cut to a very late night at the Corvidae estate. I imagine everyone but the staff that have to stay up all night are asleep, and the door. We probably hear like someone, one of the footmen, one of the door servants being like, "But sir, it's quite late. Like, I assure you, please, if you come back in the morning." And then as the guest steps into the light, the door guard, the footman, realizes that this guest has got blood all over them, and it's like, and like they panic a little bit, and they're like, I have to and then right, and we fade in on Elisandra, Elisandra in repose. So are you like? What does Elisandra's like personal bedchamber look like? Like we see Elisandra in a moment where she's like asleep. Do you sleep peacefully? Is Elisandra a like plagued by nightmares? Like what is this scene before you're woken up?
I think that just going on what we've talked about vis-a-vis like practice tests and like how much of her day is spent generally doing things, like it was what was it, like 16 hours?
Right, she's very busy.
Yeah. So my guess is that she probably sleeps like very lightly and almost fitfully, where it's like when she moves in her sleep, she kind of wakes herself up. And so there's heavy curtains around her like bed to kind of try and cut down on like outside noise and stuff, because this has probably been something that she's had to deal with for like ever, because she doesn't trust anyone else to do anything right and has a hard time like settling down. And there's also probably like right next to her bed, there's, robe and slippers. Like she's ready to just get up like at any point, because she's used to being like, I can't sleep, I'm getting out of bed, or like going to the library to do the studying that she was doing like 3 hours a day, or
okay. So yeah, so in fitful sleep, in the mostly dark, we see Elisandra, and then you're woken up by the sound of knocking at your door, and not polite like, I'm sorry, I can't wake, like wake up, like they need whoever this is. There's a slight panic to its tenor.
And I'm assuming that like them walking purposefully and not like tiptoeing past her door is enough to get her up before the knock even happens. So yeah, she's already like opening the door with her robe on as like the last couple knocks sound, and she's just, what is it?
So it's Adeline, because there's a chain of these things, right? The guard wouldn't go to you directly, like the footman has to go up the chain. So a bunch of people have been woken up.
Yeah.
And Adeline is looking a little bleary-eyed, but she says, my apologies, lady. You have a guest. He refuses to speak with anyone else. Has been calling for the king, but we thought best to.
Yes, thank you. Take me to him. Who is it? Fill me in. And like she starts walking, and she's like,
Sure.
Tell me about what's
So
happening.
Adeline has to fall in behind you, and she says, it's the Lord Volpe, my lady. Something's happened. He's delirious or drunk or both. I'm not sure he even knows where he is. He's in the kitchen, and you can hear before you get there the sound of like a bunch of metal pots and pans being thrown on the floor, and someone like talking to themselves, and then like an angry shout, and then we see you come around a corner, and you see in the kitchen there's the big wooden table, and there's stuff all over the place, and you see his back, you see Soren, and he's digging through a cupboard, like shouting and like looking for something. And it's actually kind of a contrast or a comparison to the scene we saw just a second ago with Joy, where Joy was like ripping through the room.
Right. So yeah, Adeline takes me here and says that thing about how he was delirious and like obviously mad. And I say, how did he get here? Make sure that whomever helped him from the city does not go spouting tales of the mad Lord Captain.
And she says, of course, my lady.
After that is taken care of, wait for me. I'm not certain that I am capable of calming him down.
So she says, shall I wake His Highness?
No, that's not necessary, but we might require stronger arms than mine if he does not listen to reason.
I'm certain that I could, the Lady Protector.
This is not really her purview, now is it?
It's not my place to say, milady. I just thought.
Do we have strong men awake? The people at the door, the men at the door. Just, I may have need of them. That is all.
She nods, and I don't know how much Alessandra would like know this, but like, yeah, like you don't have guards per se. Like there's no, you don't have like the house has some maybe members of the Green Mantle Company, but not really. Like you don't have goons or whatever because you're in Carpathia.
There's got to be like.
Her name is Emma Greyblade, and she has a sacred duty to protect the king with her life. That's the jam. The Grey Mantle Company polices the city.
I'm not talking about like a guard, but just like anyone who's stronger physically.
I mean, you do have men in the house, but they're not like.
There was a guy at the door who.
No, the guy at the door is not a guard, right? He's there to guard against impoliteness, right? Not brigands, because you live in a city like this. It'd be crazy to have like an armed guard at the door, unless it was like the Swiss guard.
But it's still like, a person that's stronger than I am. I'm not like asking for like.
Right. That's debatable, but yeah, I understand.
Okay, they're not a PC, but. The point is she's just like, she doesn't want to wake up the king, but she's also not gonna like, if Soren's not gonna listen to words, like she's not gonna physically restrain him.
She says, like she'll see what she can do, and if you need someone strong, you can roll circles.
Okay.
So you're standing in the doorway, and Soren is like shouting to himself, and like throwing shit around, like he's looking for something in the cupboards. He doesn't seem to hear you, and you just kind of cough a couple of times. He looks like he's been outside a while. Like his hair is all stringy and wet and hanging down around his face. He doesn't appear to have been wearing a cloak, so he's probably fucking freezing. Though he's probably too drunk to know it. And his clothes are sodden and wet. He's muddy. Probably not like as covered in blood as he was before because of the snow and slush. But he's filthy, and there's muddy footprints like all over the floor of the kitchen and in the hallway. In one of your rugs has some very like nasty muddy footprints on it.
So she's not gonna get closer to him, but if like just being there and raising her voice isn't enough, like and clearing her throat isn't enough to get his attention, then she would probably be like, Soren.
When you say his name, he spins around and like draws his sword from his belt and points it like generally in your direction. And he shouts in surprise. He's like, "Ha!" and like spins the sword around and kind of like squints, and he says, "Sister, is that you? It's not safe in the castle anymore. There's Stygians in the streets. We have to go." And he like whips around and like knocks something over with his sword, and like a jar falls and breaks, and like cooking oil, like olive oil, like it's everywhere. What are you gonna do?
He like whips out his sword, and she probably like presses herself backwards a bit, like into a wall or the door or something, and it's just like, no, I am not your sister, and this is no way to treat your host, please. And she doesn't want to like get close to him enough to like snap him out of it or whatever.
Yeah. So you're like, you say host, and he seems to only be able to hear like one or two words out of any given sentence. And he says to you, the host, the holy host of angels. Yes, boys, they're with us here in hell. And he like does like a salute with a sword and turns back to the cupboards and he says, but we'll never make it. Not without rations, not without ale. We have to go. And he's like just digging for something. And he just drops his sword and like clatters to the floor.
Okay. Yeah. Can I I think if he drops his sword and he's distracted by the cabinet, I would like move up a little bit and attempt to like kick it away.
Okay.
I don't want him to wave a sword at me. Really don't.
Make an inconspicuous roll.
Okay.
If you succeed, you're able to like move it out of his range. And if not, I think he notices you trying to do that.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
So it's an opposed roll. I'll roll to give you a difficulty.
Okay.
It is observation, but he's at a fairly significant intoxication penalty. Does he have observation?
I don't think I have anything that can really fork into inconspicuous. Other than like
Okay.
noble wise, maybe I've dealt with drunk nobles before.
Yeah, noble wise counts. Okay, so let's see if I can modify this. So he's at 2 less dice, and every 2 of these counts as 1 for. Yeah, okay. So he's got
I'll
1.
just
You just need to beat
roll
the.
versus 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as long as you don't get 0, you can beat him. Okay.
I get 1.
Yes.
Because he doesn't have observation, right? He has. He's rolling perception untrained.
Okay, so yeah, I like this is like she probably has like this is also something that is really like not okay with her. Like she's having her own like this is something that maybe it might have come up before with Reza or Gavril, just like general like Carpathian men when they drink.
Yeah, this is different. So Carpathian, like when Reza and the king, to a certain extent, when they get drunk, they get like sour, right? They get like they turn inward, and they just become like gruff and dark, and like you want to stay away from. They're like a sleeping bear. But Soren is turning outward. He's like flailing. He can barely stand. He keeps slipping and like falling.
Okay.
Regardless, you can
like,
see closer. He's got a pretty bad gash in his forehead, and there's like blood coming down his face. But it doesn't look like he was attacked. Like he probably slipped and hit his head on something.
Aw.
But you just like with one foot just like slide his sword like under a table or something where you can't see it.
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna like now that I'm closer and he's not waving a sword, there would be like she's not gonna touch him yet because he's obviously a little frantic. But she would just like try Soren. You're not in the war. Please calm yourself.
And he turns to look at you, kind of one hand still in the like the pantry, and he says, "No, not in the war, dear sister. You're safe at home, and thank God for that. You can't believe the things I'm seeing." And he takes like a sudden step towards you, and he says, "My God, I'm so sorry." And he like lunges to grab you.
She freezes.
Okay, yeah. And he grabs you and like pulls you close. And you can see it's not just that he's drunk. Like he should be passed out. Something else is going on here. He's not as drunk as you thought. There's something else happening. And
okay.
he's just like staring at you. And he starts crying. Like tears just start streaming down his face. And you can only really tell because they're like cleaning the blood and the dirt off his face. And he's like, Tabitha, I'm so sorry. I tried to protect him. I did, but I couldn't. They took the pass, and it was my life or his, and I thought I fled. I'm a coward. And he like starts crying, and he like puts his face against your chest and just starts sobbing into your like robe.
Right. I think that she is just like, there, like awkwardly, like At least this is better than waving a sword and hopefully calming down. And yeah, she makes like this is like reminiscent of when she still loved her kid. She's making like shushing noises and like, all right, like it's okay. You're safe now.
Let's roll that soothing platitude skill that you're so obviously good at.
It's really great. Excellent at soothing
Holy
flash.
hell, when she used to love her kid, Jesus.
Right?
What?
I remember what it's like to make
That's
someone
an
feel better when they're
amazing
upset.
statement.
They're there.
It says so much about her. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Noble Wise.
Listen, some people only have enough room in their heart for one person, and Alessandra loves herself.
Yeah.
That's okay. She'll come to love the angels. The angels will teach her how to love again.
What's
okay.
the ob?
Soothing platitudes. This is gonna be pretty difficult, I think. Because he's deep in he's having an attack. Let me take a look at the difficulties for soothing platitudes. And I think if you succeed, he'll calm down enough for you to talk to him a little bit. But if you fail, someone else will arrive to take over, and you'll have to deal with them. Okay, base obstacle is his will. It's ob 4, but inversely, I'm going to give you a +2 to that ob, so it's going to be ob 6, which I know is impossible for you, but
thanks.
It's not my job to make tests you can succeed at. I mean, it was pretty impossible before, right? Because you don't have soothing platitudes. So
I do have soothing platitudes.
all right, well then, good luck. You might be able to do it. 6 is much easier than 12. How many dice are you rolling?
I have 3 for soothing platitudes.
Let's get the forks.
And then I have Noble Wise. Can persuasion fork in?
Yes.
The
The listed forks are persuasion and falsehood.
I mean, I am
if you even mutter the phrase "everything's gonna be okay" or
That's
"it'll
literally
be
what
all
I
right,"
said.
yeah, then
Yeah.
falsehood.
Okay, falsehood too, then.
Fucking liar. The biggest lie anyone ever tells anyone.
Okay.
I read a book recently where like someone in a military context, someone was saying that where they were like, I had to lie to my officers all the time. What the fuck book was that? The thing about like it's gonna be okay being the biggest lie anyone ever has to tell. But that's 3 so
with
far.
manipulation wise, I'm trying to manipulate him into calming the fuck down.
Yes, because you don't actually care about him. You just want him to stop doing this.
Okay, so I probably still can't make this, but I don't know if I have
7
any.
against ob 6.
Yeah. At least I have a chance
You do.
of making it.
I mean, you throw dice and you see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's 4. Op 6. I have a single 6.
You got lots of fate.
I might as well try. Yeah.
do it.
Okay. I'll put another fate into soothing platitudes.
Not so much. Okay.
But I got another difficult soothing platitudes test I don't need.
It's fine. So you feel a hand on your sleeve, like on your arm, and you are roughly pulled away from Soren. Soren falls to the ground, and you turn, and of course you see His Royal Highness the King. And he's sneering at you like this is your fault. And he's like, "Get away from him, woman," and like pushes you aside. And grabs him off the floor, picks him up, and slaps him in the face. And I think that's the last thing that happens before we go to break is that the king yanks Soren up and just hits him as hard as he can in the face. And we just see Soren's head snap to the side, and then he looks back, like eyes wide, like a deer in headlights. And then we cut to our first break. So the king has seized control of the situation, and we can see where that goes when we get back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with lots more Roll20 Presents The Burning Wheel when we return.